A fantastic team effort then to secure victory here in the desert. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
As we await the winners to take their positions on the podium, one thing is clear. AlphaTauri have really shown their prowess on the track. This is a team that isn't afraid to take risks, whether that's on the circuit or in the new talent they hire. Today, those risks certainly paid off. Welcome to the beautiful Styrian Mountains for another chapter in the story of the Austrian Grand Prix. The Spielberg circuit then is situated 700 metres above sea level, with just 10 corners making up one of the shortest laps of the season. One time around here is a distance of 2.6 miles, with the best overtaking chances into turn 1 or the tight uphill turn 3. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Let's discuss Red Bull. We have a number of changes to the aerodynamic regulations this year, and the signs haven't looked good for them so far in terms of getting to grips with those changes.
There are a few downcast looks within the team this weekend. I think they've been hit fairly hard by the new regs. But this is only the first step down a long road of development, and even if they don't maximise their points today, there are plenty more up for grabs this season.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. De Jong lines up on pole position and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Leclerc, Daniel Ricciardo and Sainz, Perez, Mick Schumacher, Gasly and George Russell, Stroll, Tsunoda and Guan Yu Zhou and Giovinazzi, Latifi, Bottas, Nobuharu Matsushita and Jack Aitken, Eilert and Nikita Mazepin. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. That's it then for another spectacular Grand Prix here at Austria, and a truly magnificent drive to hang on and take the win. Talk to me. What do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
And look at this, they're coming out now. AlphaTauri have developed something of a reputation for forging exciting new talent, and we can see that here. Incredible victory. We're back in Italy once again for another round of the Formula One World Championship. And what a great race is in store for us today here at the oldest circuit on the calendar. Monza hosted its first race all the way back in 1922. With top speeds reaching 215 miles per hour, only a few places can challenge Monza's crown as the fastest circuit in F1. Hard braking zones going into the 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6-mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some closer action. Anthony Davidson, a very warm welcome to you as you join me in the commentary box for today's event. Why don't we talk about Ferrari? We have a number of changes to the aerodynamic regulations this year, and the signs haven't looked good for them so far in terms of getting to grips with those changes.
It doesn't look promising for them so far. And if the new regs have hit them as hard as we think, well, I suspect they may need a few late nights at the factory to get back on track.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. De Jong lines up on pole position and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Daniel Ricciardo and Sainz, Perez, Gasly, Mick Schumacher and Yuki Tsunoda, Stroll, Bottas, Antonio Giovinazzi and Russell, Joe, Latifi, Nobuharu Matsushita and Jack Aitken, Mazepin and Callum Islet. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. Welcome once again then to the United States Grand Prix here in the magnificent city of Austin. It was here in 2018 that Kimi Räikkönen delighted the world by winning for the first time in 114 races. There's always a record to be broken, so what I wonder is in store for us today. We're racing today then in Travis County, Texas, around the 20 corners of the wonderful Circuit of the Americas. We'll be reaching speeds of around 200 miles an hour, and there are plenty of good opportunities to pass, especially through the two DRS zones into Turn 1 and the very long back straight into Turn 12. Alongside me to discuss all the action today is Anthony Davidson. Thanks for joining us, Ant, and tell me, you were down in the pit lane earlier. How do you think the track conditions are today?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. De Jong lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Norris, Sainz, Sergio Perez and Ricciardo, Gasly, Mick Schumacher, Stroll and Yuki Tsunoda, Russell, Bottas, and Guan Yu Zhou and Leclerc, Giovinazzi, Latifi, Jack Aitken and Nobuharu Matsushita, Mazepin and Callum Islet. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? Here's our winner pulling their AlphaTauri into Parc Fermé. What a fantastic race! Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection, a shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
As we await the winners to take their positions on the podium, one thing is clear. AlphaTauri have really shown their prowess on the track. This is a team that isn't afraid to take risks, whether that's on the circuit or in the new talent they hire. Today, those risks certainly paid off. A commanding performance from AlphaTauri today. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on the track was today: speed. I know it sounds like an obvious thing to say, Crofty, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
And look at this, they're coming out now. AlphaTauri have developed something of a reputation for forging exciting new talent, and we can see that here. Incredible victory. And so the celebrations begin, and well earned they are indeed. It may have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level, at the very top, is anything but simple. There's no counting them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion. Not just victory today then, but the championship as well. What a spectacular season they've had. Congratulations to the whole team. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
And it's time now for the podium celebrations, and how well deserved is this one? This is a team all about giving talented young drivers an opportunity to race and to win. AlphaTauri are your winners here today. That's a spectacular victory then, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
As we await the winners to take their positions on the podium, one thing is clear. AlphaTauri have really shown their prowess on the track. This is a team that isn't afraid to take risks, whether that's on the circuit or in the new talent they hire. Today, those risks certainly paid off,